Welcome to People Doing Good for Others, where we praise and honor and hold in the light and celebrate those who are truly making significant differences in our communities. I'm Gary York, and I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I want to thank Wilkes Communications, River Street Productions, and 100.9 WIFM for the sponsorship. My featured guest today is Matthew Davis. He's a recent graduate of Wilkes Central High School. He's a co-valedictorian. He's an outstanding soccer player and swimmer, a community leader in both his schools and Wilkes County, and he's on the way to UNC Chapel Hill, and I think his major is in biology, and he's just an outstanding young man, and thank you for being with us. Good morning.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
It's good to have you, Matthew. A good way to start is sharing your family with us.
Well, my mom's name is Marie. She's originally from Charlotte. My dad's lived in Wilkes and Watauga pretty much most of his life. His name's Michael. I have a brother named Michael as well that you previously did an interview with, and then I have a little brother named Mark who is 10 years old.
And tell us about your brother, your older brother. What is he doing now?
Well, he's an app. He's into like politics and stuff, so he's majoring in political science. He's part of SGA, which is the student government organization app. So he's busy doing that, and he's working with other students up there and kind of get experience.
Good. What are you doing this summer?
I've just been working this summer. I work as a lifeguard at Oakwoods Country Club, and I've just been trying to hang out with my friends and relax, get everything out before I go to college.
Good. How does one certify to be a lifeguard? What does one do?
Well, if you've never been certified before, you have to go through a program. You have to get certified in oxygen, just CPR, first aid in general, and water rescue stuff. So you have to take a class. You go there in person a few times for a few hours, and then there's online videos that you have to watch. And then after all that, you get a certificate that says you're certified. Good. And then every 2 years you have to renew them because they expire. And
you're at the country club, Oakwoods Country Club there at the golf course.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about your grandmother, Teresa.
My grandma, Teresa, that's my mom's mom, and she lives in Charlotte, and we go down there and visit her all the time. But she's just a wonderful person. She's very giving, and she's taught all of her grandkids that, for all of her life, just the importance of giving back to others, even just the community in general. But she's always very helpful, even when she's probably not feeling like it. She's helping out however she can, on holidays and stuff, Christmas and Thanksgiving. She's always the one that's volunteering to cook the food and make sure everything's good for everyone else.
Matthew Davis, you're a very confident person, and you have real great social skills. Tell us about the courage that it takes to be assertive, to be a leader. Just a little bit about how does that happen? How do you find yourself stressed at times and do it anyway, or just how does one gain that confidence?
Oh, it's for sure stressful. I think anyone has the potential to be a leader. It's just kind of, who's up to the challenge. It might seem scary at first, especially when you're around new people. Let's say you're in high school or college and you're just doing whatever, you're in a club or organization, and you're trying to work your way up and find a leadership position. I'm sure that everyone around you might seem more qualified than you or more personable than you, but you can't let that deter you. You just have to just show them what you have to offer. And usually you can just get that by being polite and kind and just a good person overall.
When you walk into a strange room and there's lots of people there, do you just automatically go to someone and offer a handshake, or how you work a room? Tell us a little bit about that.
It takes practice. one important tip is what's called reading the room. So you just kind of get a feel for the atmosphere of the room, the people in it. You try and decide what's good to say, what's not good to say, a way that you could like maybe butt into the conversation or offer a good point or maybe add something humorous to it. And just, you got to find a way to contribute to the overall atmosphere of the room. And I feel like that's a good way to go.
So you'll feel the fear maybe, but do it anyway.
Yeah, you got to do it anyway.
You got to do it anyway. Thank you. Your journey in schools in Wilkes County so far, tell us where you started and a little bit about moving around.
I went to C.C. Wright Elementary School. I went there for all of elementary school. It's over on 115. I really liked C.C. Wright. It was kind of small, so that means I got to get to know my classmates and my teachers really well. And at C.C. Wright, I think I had some of the greatest teachers that I could have had. They were always very kind and very encouraging, and just all around good teachers and good people. And I still see I see them out and about sometimes in Wilkes County, and I always, say hi, and they ask me how I'm doing, and it's always a good talking experience just to see how they're doing and how I'm doing.
Good.
And then I went to Central Wilkes Middle School for 3 years, and it's still the same way. I met a bunch of good teachers there. I still see some of them out and about. And then I went to Wilkes Central High School for 4 years.
When did you realize that you could be the top student or you could be an outstanding leader? Do you remember a time that maybe it was a turn for you when you maybe outperformed or did something exceptional?
Well, elementary school is, it's not very competitive academically. You're not trying to outdo each other. You're just trying to learn, basically. So I would always just kind of do my own thing. I'd read. I'd do whatever interested me, whether it was like watching a video that interested me or talking to my teacher about something that interested me. And after that, you just kind of keep progressing. And then it's a lot of work. There's some smart people that may not be competitive academically because they just don't give a lot of effort, or and then there's the smart people that give effort. It is all about effort. I think you can make good grades and be competitive if you really want to and just try. You just got to study and just commit to bettering yourself.
Matthew Davis, did you study every day?
Most every day. Or I had homework most every day.
Okay. So you've accomplished a great deal, but you've worked hard too.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
You're talented and you're willing to do what it takes to be outstanding. You're going to UNC Chapel Hill. Tell us about that decision.
It was a pretty complex decision. I applied to 5 colleges. I applied to NC State, Chapel Hill, Appalachian State, Davidson, and Duke. And I got into NC State, Chapel Hill, and App, and then I got waitlisted at both Davidson and Duke. But those were kind of reach schools that I was maybe hoping to get a scholarship to, because they're private and they're obviously very expensive.
Very expensive.
So after a while, I decided, since I wasn't probably going to do engineering, I didn't really want to focus on NC State. So then I narrowed it down to either App or Chapel Hill, and it was like the typical, stay close to home, go to a smaller school decision, or go further away and be in a much bigger, more diverse place. And overall, I've been a Carolina Tar Heels basketball fan my whole life, so I just decided to go to Chapel Hill and broaden my horizons, try something different, go big or go home. So that's the one I chose.
What will you major?
I'll major in biology.
Do you want to be a doctor?
Hopefully. That could change, but that's what I'm going to start out trying to do. I'm going to try pre-med track.
You visited the campus, I'm sure, several times.
Mm-hmm.
What is the Matthew Davis impression of things so far at Chapel Hill?
It's very large. I went there a few times as, like a child or like in middle school, and it always just seemed really big and overwhelming. And then I went to freshman student or admitted student day, which is where all the people that get admitted get to go, and they basically give you a tour and just talk about what life is like at that campus. And then we had freshman orientation, which is after you officially accept and enroll. So then you go there, you stay the night there, so it's like a 2-day thing. So it's basically just a bunch of information sessions about like, class registration and like just all kinds of stuff that you need to know before you get on campus.
If you were being recruited and you said you just decided you'd go there, what would happen on your visit day? Is that a day you go there and visit?
Yeah, you can go and visit.
What all would you do that day?
On the admitted student day, so first we were down there early in the morning. So we went to the old basketball arena, and there were probably 1,000 people in there with us. It's a lot of people. So we're all, you register like online beforehand, like RSVP, say you're coming, and then you go check in when you get there, and then you go into that big room, and then they have like a general sort of overview and information session, and then you break up by like intended major. So all the biology majors, the biology was the biggest major, so we stayed in the gym, and they send everyone else off in their own little group. And so then they basically take department-specific questions. There was a lot of Q&A, try and answer some questions that people had, maybe quell some fears that people had about the university or the major in particular. And I feel like that was really helpful because the professors were down there answering most of the questions. They were really nice and obviously very knowledgeable. And they were bringing around like sticky notes and pens and stuff, so you could like write down a question and just hand it to someone, and they take it to them, and they usually give you an answer.
My.
So it was pretty
intense.
Yeah, it was pretty intense.
Yeah. Matthew Davis, tell me about your career in sports in high school.
I started off freshman year. I started JV soccer, and I did swimming, and I continued doing those for all 4 years of high school. Soccer, our coach was Jim Cottle. He was interesting to say the least, but I really liked him. He was very motivating as a coach, and even a lot of times he got mad at us. It's just part of being a coach and trying to make our team better.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work. You can't be good at something if you don't put the effort in.
Right.
So soccer, I would say it's a lot of little things. You don't have to be the one out there juking people out and scoring all the goals to make an impact on the field. There's a lot of like communication you can do verbally, just a lot of looking
at
the
team concept.
Yeah, it's a team concept.
Yeah.
I talked to you about that earlier.
Yeah.
But it's pretty important. I played defense most of my time there, but defense is more as a unit than it is as an individual thing.
Okay.
So we played like a cup shape in the back. So it all works well when everyone's shifting and covering gaps and playing defense as a whole. But as soon as one person like goes off on their own or breaks down, then you just have big holes everywhere, and then just people run right through them.
Right. All right, let's switch to the academic side now. Did we talk about swimming?
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Let's do that.
So swimming, my first coach was Scott. That was my freshman year. And then we got a new coach, Richard Huffman. He's very nice. He coaches the Tide team at the YMCA. So he coached both teams while he was the high school coach. And he coached West Wilkes and Wilkes Central. So we were kind of like a combined big team. So we practiced together. Swimming is one of those sports where you gotta keep practicing and practicing. And then when you stop and for a few days and then you try and get back in the water, you can definitely feel it. Like you're out of shape. You get tired very fast. So you gotta be really diligent about.
A lot of discipline.
Yeah, a lot of discipline.
Swimming, a lot of discipline.
You gotta be diligent. You gotta come to practice, and a lot of it's a mental thing too. Like just before your races, you gotta get mentally ready, just as much as you are physically ready.
Okay. Your favorite course in high school?
Favorite course in high school? I would probably say both of my English classes senior year with Miss Appington. Those are both very fun classes.
Did you say senior year?
Yeah, senior year. Miss Appington. So I had her for English 4 honors, and I had her for AP English in the spring. So in English 4, it was basic English class. We wrote essays and read literature, and then we also had to do the high school graduation projects, the senior projects.
Oh,
so
what was yours?
I designed a little computer program.
Ah, okay.
So she helped us through all that, which is a very stressful time, especially as you're in the fall you're applying for college and scholarships and stuff like that. So you got a lot on your plate, and you just got to manage your time wisely and be diligent. And Miss Abbott helped us do all that. And just as a person, I think she's very amazing. She's very personable, and she really related to like us students. And she was very humorous, and she was always like very direct with what she wanted, and just everyone in the class.
Okay. Matthew Davis, I want to, there's a number of mentor instructors, people that have had a good influence for you. Tell us about Ms. Ginger Bentley.
Miss Bentley, she's a friend of my parents, so I had known her before I even got to high school. And then when I got to high school, I had her for Math 3, and then afterwards, or this year, I had her for 2 semesters of calculus. So I've always been pretty good at math. Math has been one of the subjects that comes easily to me. I know that some people really struggle with it, but I've always been the person that kind of likes working with numbers because, it's very definite and concrete. It's like one way, you get one answer. There's not really any debate over whether it's right or wrong. It's just you gotta figure out how to get to that answer.
Yeah.
So, which you can work at. So, Math 3 was all right, and then calculus is obviously challenging. It basically takes everything you thought you knew about math and it kind of changes it up a little. But it's just a lot of memory and practice, because there's a lot of rules that you have to learn, a lot of like formulas or stuff like that.
Okay.
And then even just learning to do the actual problems more or less, like apply it to a real world situation, is difficult. So, you have to spend a lot of time to learn the skills, and then you got to apply it to like a physics problem or something like that.
Okay. Ms. Laura Brooks.
Yeah, Miss Brooks was my math teacher freshman year. I had her for Math 2. So she was actually my very first class, first day of high school. So I walked in there, and that was my first high school experience.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Needless to say, it was a good one.
Yeah.
She's a very kind person. She's good at math. She knows what she's talking about. And I'd taken Math 1 as an 8th grader, so that I was a freshman in basically a sophomore math class. And there were a few other freshmen in there too. It's kind of scary being with people that you didn't really know that well your first day of high school. But,
she made you feel wanted, I bet.
Yeah. She was very talkative and just very encouraging the whole time. And that's what being a good teacher is all about, I feel.
Okay. John Elledge.
John Elledge. I really like Mr. Elledge as a teacher and
too.
both a person. I had him for junior year. I had him for English 3 in the fall, and then AP English again in the spring. And they were 2 very different classes, I'll say that. English 3 is a lot of reading literature and writing like responses and analytical essays, learning about different periods of American literature. And through that class, I learned a lot about analyzing literature, but also just writing in general, and how it's a time-consuming process. You can't rush through it once
Such
and be
an
done.
interesting man. I really cherished the time with him.
Mm-hmm. He taught us a lot of, especially in AP, he taught us a lot of good writing tips. And it wasn't just like writing to analyze literature, it's just writing in general. Like whether you're writing an argumentative essay or like you're describing something. And we had like a textbook that went along with the class that was called Patterns. But basically, it was just a lot of practicing writing. And then we did like daily writings every day where he'd have like a prompt on the board or like a quote, and he'd just kind of say, write what you think it means, how does it relate to you, stuff like that. And then as you do that every day and you start writing like more formal essays, you just get better at writing. And obviously if you use the advice that he tells you, you obviously get better too.
Michelle Shepard.
Michelle Shepard. Oh yeah, she was the principal my freshman year. I hate that she had to leave. I thought she was an amazing principal.
I did too.
She was very caring about her students. She was always, in the halls or walking the classrooms, checking up on people, making sure they were okay. And that's all.
Great encourager.
Yeah, great encourager too.
Yeah.
And when we had like assemblies or sporting events, she was always there She was always the one to talk, very loud and assertive about it too,
Yeah.
and really got her point across.
When you won the state championship in girls basketball, she was there at the Smith Center, just leading people on.
Oh yeah, she is very into the athletics
Very
too.
into that. What does AP course mean?
It stands for Advanced Placement. So basically, you have in high school, you can take the standard course, or you can take an honors course, which gives you, it's more challenging, but it gives you more, it's a higher weighted GPA.
Okay.
So, and then AP is even higher weighted than that, and then you can get college credit for it as well. So what you do is you take like the class, like with the certified teacher, and then in the spring usually they have the exams for those classes. So then you go to like the Stone Center or somewhere else, and you take like a standardized test for that subject.
You get college credit for that. Is that
It
right?
depends how you score.
Okay.
But most colleges accept, you can score 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and most colleges usually accept a 3 as college credit.
Okay. Who's Caitlin Nolan?
Caitlin Nolan's one of my close friends. I knew who she was in middle school, but you know, I wasn't that close to her then. But we became a lot closer in freshman, sophomore, and junior year and senior year as time went on. We kind of got our little friend group together, and we just all started hanging out together. But I think she's a very motivated person. You know, she's also very organized, very creative. Mr. Elledge talked about her during our senior awards assembly and how she was a very good writer, and she is a very good writer. She's very creative, and she's very clear on what she's writing about, especially when she writes about literature. Miss Sappin would always comment on how like just insightful it was. You know, like
Right.
she might point out something that somebody else had missed, or like just make a good observation about something.
Caitlin Glenn?
Yeah, Caitlin Glenn and Caitlin Nolan are very similar. I've known Caitlin Glenn since elementary school. We went to CC Wright together. We've been kind of friends, you know, through middle school and high school as well. But yeah, she's also very motivated, very driven. She got the Park Scholarship to NC State, which was very impressive, and you know, we were all very proud of her. She's very organized as well. She's got that leader mindset. You know, she likes to take charge, take control, and really get things done.
Right. Dennis Huggins and the T3LC. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah, so I was a part of first my junior year UTA, which stands for United Teens in Action. So a bunch of high schoolers from the 4 county schools, they applied and they selected so many people, and then we would meet and basically just talk about ways to improve the community. And then our big service project was we went to the nursing home for St. Patrick's Day, and we brought gift baskets and stuff. You know, we took pictures, we played games with them, and overall just like spent time with them, made their days better. So that was also really nice. And then my senior year, you go to T3LC, which stands for Time, Talent, and Treasure Leading to Change.
Wow.
So that one, we still did the service project again. We went back to the nursing home just because we enjoyed it so much. And then we also delegated grant money. So we had like a pot of like money that we had to delegate to certain projects that applied for it. We had to pick out, you know, which ones we thought would most benefit the community.
Yeah.
And Dennis the whole time, he was always very encouraging, always very humorous, and just making the experience very positive.
I found him to be a very resourceful person. I call him virtually every week and ask, how do you do this, how do you do that? And not only is he capable, he's willing. Mm-hmm. He gives his time in a very special way. Dennis Huggins is one of my heroes. Governor's School.
Governor's School was a wonderful experience. It was hosted at Salem College in Winston-Salem. So you had to apply to be in it, and there were several different disciplines. There was like your traditional school subjects like math and natural science, social science, English, and then they had like artistic or creative disciplines like just visual art, like band and orchestra. They had choral music. They had theater, you know, like acting and stuff. They had like even a dance discipline. So you really get exposed to a wide variety of disciplines, I guess, that you wouldn't normally be exposed to at a traditional high school. So it was like a 6-week summer program. So we went and like stayed down on campus for the 6 weeks, and it was basically like a mini college run, I guess, a practice run for college. You just meet a whole bunch of new people that share the same interests as you, and then it was very enjoyable overall.
Well, how long did it last?
It was 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
And then we got like a 2 or 3 day break at the middle point.
All right. What about a college application? Give us an idea of what all is involved in applying.
Well, usually you apply through the Common App, which is it's like this general form that all of the colleges kind of agree on is what they want to use. So you have all the general information that you got to fill out. It's a lot of general information, like your name and where you live and all that kind of stuff. And then you start getting into the more specific stuff like your academics, your, what you did in high school, your activities, your extracurricular stuff. And then the essay writing is very important. So there's like 4 or 5 prompts that you can choose from that are like the general Common App essay. I think it's like a limit of 750 words. So all of the essays are.
So they give you a topic and you write on a topic?
Yeah. The generic Common App one, there were like 4 or 5 prompts, and you got to choose one to write about it.
Okay.
And then when you like choose a school to apply to, they usually have like a few short answer questions or essay questions that you got to answer to. And then sometimes you have to do all of them, and sometimes you get to pick. They have like 4 prompts.
So your teachers in high school always willing to help with the application process?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people are applying for college at the same time. So you got to be diligent, go ask them and, get the ball rolling soon, as soon as senior year starts.
Yeah.
But, Mr. Elledge was always willing to help. Miss Bentley was always willing to help. Mr. Colbert, Miss Sappington, whether they were writing letters of recommendation or just like giving advice on, just college admissions in general.
Matthew Davis, I really enjoyed being with you today, and we want to thank Wilkes Communications and River Street Productions and 100.9 WIFM. You're an outstanding young man and student, person of significant values in the community. You have servant's heart. Tell us about the gratitude that you have for the opportunities that have been provided for you.
Oh yeah, I've been very thankful for all of the opportunities that I've had in my life. Whether it was given to me by my parents, my family, my relatives, my friends, any of my teachers, school administration staff, anyone at my church, my community, just anyone overall that has given me an opportunity. I always try to make the most of it. And I'm always thankful for every single opportunity, because they don't have to give you an opportunity.
Yeah.
When they do, it's out of the kindness of their heart. And when they do that, you can't let them down. You have to go through with it. Yeah. And make the most out of it.
So every day is an opportunity to be the best Matthew Davis that Matthew Davis can be. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're held in highest regard in the community. I thank you for being here, and I hope
thank you. It's been good to be here.
Thank you. Yeah.